Susie Chan said, "Don't be defined by other people's expectations, define your own strength." And today we have with us a guest for this episode who has defined her own strength. Hi, my name is Aarti, and welcome back to this channel. I am your own life coach, your digital creator, and your therapist. Today we have Umama Tabassum a very sound and a very coach and an image consultant. Hi, Umama. How are you doing? Welcome to
Hi,
this episode.
Aarti. Thank you so much. It feels so good to be here.
I am short of words to introduce you because I don't know how to say how good you are at your work. So tell us. Today we are going to talk about your story, your struggles, how you overcame all of that, and you became the version of yourself, the version you are right now. So over to you, Mama. Tell us something about you and how it all happened. How did you get into this profile, and what all challenges you faced?
Thank you so much, Aarti. There are multiple events and multiple tipping points, I would say, not just one, but to start with, I would go back to my childhood days,
Mhm.
where I have always found myself. So if I have to look back in time, I have always found myself snuggled in the books and copies and just reading, just studying, because we were framed like so that you have to be the best at your studies, you have to top whatever exams that you are doing, and that was there in my head. So I remember that I did absolutely nothing apart from studying.
I'm talking to a topper. I'm talking to a school topper here.
Yes, that's
Oh my
true.
God.
Well, back then it was a proud moment for me, but now I feel it just doesn't matter, honestly
Hmm.
speaking. And
Hmm.
if I have to go back in time and tell to this child, you know what, don't take so much of pressure, take it easy.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. So being a topper, being always the number one, tell us about the struggle that you faced as a child. Like, how was it to have that kind of a pressure? How did that impact you?
Um, I think I would say, Aarti, that when you are framed that you have to be the topper, then you take a lot of pressure. You are burdened by this fact that, okay, I just cannot do anything else. You get to that guilt trip if you are doing anything but studying, yeah, because you
Hmm.
you feel that you are not doing your best. You could have done better, and you also at the same time, whenever you do not score good marks, or rather not good, I would say the best. Okay, so
Best.
good
Always the
was not
best.
even, yeah, good was not under the scope at all. It was always the best. So even it was, I could tell you this one story, Aarti, when I was the school topper, okay, for my board. I'm talking about board examination, and I got 100 in maths. I got 99 in other subjects, 98, 95. The only one subject that I scored less was English. Okay, English.
Okay.
And that was a 78 marks. And the moment I heard that, and mind my words, I was a school topper for my board examination. The percentage that I got was 93 point some percentage.
Wow.
But
Hmm.
but I was not happy. That is the priming that I had. I was not happy. I
Hmm.
was wondering, matlab, ideally, you should be happy that you got 100, you got 99, you got 95. But look at me. I was so unhappy that I got 78. That too in English? How is that
Hmm.
even possible? And I was so depressed. I still
Yeah.
remember that day. I was not happy at all. As I said, when I look at myself back then, I was like, oh my God, Mama, you could have
But you should
lived
look
life.
at the 93%. You're looking at 78. Look at the 93% overall that you've got, the hundreds and hundreds that you've got. Oh my
I
God.
know.
So, yeah. So was this like a parental expectation or family expectation, or was it something that is in you right from the beginning?
I think I was to a great extent, and even I am like that, where I want to, be the best in whatever I do. That is there. But then, of
Mm.
course, there was a lot of pressure from, yes, my father and my maternal grandfather who was responsible for my upbringing, because I
Mm.
completely understand from where they are coming from. And I am not saying that they were wrong, or they were
Yes. Yes.
they did something which was not supposed to be done. But I understand from the adversities that they have seen in their life, they just wanted us not to face the same thing. And that's
Mm.
when they primed us that, okay, the only thing that it will take you forward is studying. Which I
Mm.
completely agree. Had I not been the person who studied a lot, possibly I would not have been here and being a confident person per se, which I was not there earlier. I was an extreme
Mm.
introvert back then, Aarti, when I was in my school. So I could, I have to muster all the courage to talk to even one person. That
Mm.
was me back then. Yeah.
Mm. And today
Because
you are
as I
teaching
said,
how to be confident. You are teaching other
so
people. You are a confidence coach today. Wow. Awesome.
absolutely, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that was one of the major reasons why I picked up this particular career. And because I just wanted people not to struggle with this particular element, at least in their life,
Yes.
They should be
Yes.
confident in their skin, they should be confident in the way they are, irrespective of the fact that how they have been boxed up by the
Mm.
society, by the upbringing, by the pressure that they are living with. Honestly, these pressures are external, yes, but we uh, create these pressure. We just amplify these pressure by just thinking so
Absolutely.
much about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? When we do inner child sessions, a lot of times, it comes up that the child feels pressured and,
Yeah.
the child feels they have to prove themselves or show something to the parent. Often I have noticed that it's usually our own expectation from our own self rather than from the
Absolutely.
parents. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a perspective that, parents are expecting. Of course, everybody expects. So tell us, how did you deal with, of course, you were the best always, but a few moments when you were not, or you were not up to the expectation, like the example that you gave
Hmm.
of your board exams or any other incidences that happened. How did you deal with that kind of, situation as a child? Did you doubt yourself, or what happened exactly?
True. So whenever there was a situation where I felt that, okay, I am slightly moving towards the failure zone, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not acceptable to me, as I said, because I was an overachiever, I would say. Yeah. And it was not at all acceptable. So I could just tell you one incident of my life. I'm talking about 11th standard of my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine 10th, I was the school topper, and then I jump into 11th standard, and I was preparing for IIT JEE examinations because, again, you wanted to be in the best institution
Mm-hmm.
doing engineering. That was the next step in my life, the checkbox that we have, right? So I was preparing for JEE, and when you prepare for JEE, there are two things that happens. One is, of course, your normal regular schools, okay, the plus two schools curriculum, and the second thing is the coaching that you for your IIT JEE exam preparation, which is again a hardcore, intense practice and the coaching classes, etc. So if you are doing both hand in hand, it is very difficult to manage time. So I remember we just slept for 2 to 3 hours for almost 2 years in our life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just that much, because we wanted to be the best, we wanted to do the best. And during this 11th standard, I remember we appeared, so I appeared for my examinations, the first sem examinations for 11th standard school examinations I'm talking about, and I
Mm-hmm.
failed in chemistry.
Oh my
I
God.
failed in chemistry. Okay. Now imagine what would have happened to me.
Devastated. Oh my God, you must have been devastated.
Oh my God, I could not just see myself in the mirror, even saying that, Umama, what are you doing? Right?
Mm.
And I
Mm.
completely understood that. I realized that, okay, because my focus is IIT, and that's when school education is taking a back seat. But then I could not take that failure. I just could not. But as you said, there is one thing about uh, achievers, or rather, I would say, who just want to be the best in what they are doing. They have a
Mm.
habit of just getting back.
Mm.
eventually, yeah. So you just don't sit there and uh, think that, okay, what has happened in my life, I can't do anything else and all of that. You don't
Mm,
just stay there, you move on. And that is
mm.
one of the qualities that I have. Okay, I'll sit over it for some time, maybe a day or a two, but then eventually I just bounce back.
Very
And
good.
that
That's
that is
great.
something which happens every time. Now also,
Mm,
whenever you have bad days, okay, you sit over it for a day,
mm,
but then
mm,
you bounce back, you get back
mm.
on track,
Got it. Got it.
right?
So bouncing back is one skill that is not taught in school or the conventional education system that we have. We are not taught how to face failures, how to face your emotions when you're going through
True,
a rough patch. Of
true.
course, for a rough patch for an achiever would be getting 78% and not 100%. So that's a
I
different story. But so how was it at your home? Like were you also pressurized there, or it was just your own thing? And as you were growing up, did you feel that you're being judged for what you're doing and how you're growing up, and are you an achiever or no? Did you feel that judgment also from people?
know. I think there was a lot of expectations. I won't say a judgment per se, but the expectations were too high. And I
Mm,
think it's unfair for a child to have that kind of,
mm,
expectations that, and as I said, you take a lot of pressure to fulfill those expectations. And that was
yeah,
me,
yeah.
drowning in, in expectation.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll tell you, it's our own, but somewhere, it's our conditioning also.
Right.
IIT करना है, engineer बनना है, ऐसा करना है.
Absolutely.
It is
Absolutely.
also somewhere conditioned. We are conditioned to be like a certain way. Either you have to be a doctor or an engineer or something. We feel it is our expectation, but it is also somewhere ingrained in us by the
Absolutely.
society,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it? So
yeah.
what do
Right.
you have to say about that?
So yeah, I mean, I think during my time when I was into education and everything, at that time, two professions. I'm sure you would be able to relate to this,
Yes,
आरती. या तो तुम डॉक्टर बनोगे या तो तुम इंजीनियर बनोगे. इसके अलावा
absolutely.
कोई और ऑप्शंस ही नहीं है. मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि इसके अलावा भी कुछ होती है ना?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Later, I realized, oh my God, there is much more than being a doctor and being an engineer. Of course, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong in being the two. But
Yeah.
then I was not aware, honestly speaking, I was not aware that apart from these two professions, something else also exists. So I
Mm,
chose engineering because doctor was not something that resonated to me back then.
correct.
Yeah. And
Mm,
as you rightly mentioned, Aarti, of course, it is a lot of expectations from ourselves, but at the same time, the kind of conditioning that we have. So in my case, I think as I mentioned, right, I was raised by my grandparents, and somehow my parents also, so they all wanted us to, become something, maybe a doctor, maybe an engineer, and earn, be self independent, self dependent, and
yes.
that's how everything revolved around getting into proper college, get doing the right things and getting a proper job, etc. That's how it all shaped. And yeah, I mean, the way we are conditioned is something that matters a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm intrigued to ask you why, because what you do now is very unconventional, and what
Yeah,
we are conditioned to do is something very conventional. We are, as you mentioned, only these two opportunities, doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao, UPSC de do, all of that.
yeah.
And so how did this transition happen to Mama? We would love to know what is it that inspired you to take this up as your career.
Um, I think the main major event um was when I was working as a software developer. So yes,
Mhm.
am an engineer. I was an engineer and I worked for good 6 years as a software developer. And that's when we had this opportunity to attend one of the training programs. And there was this one trainer who was impeccable. I was just taken aback by the way she was.
Mm.
And I just told to myself, Umama, मुझे ये करना है अब.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Mm.
that was the moment when I told to myself that, okay, this is the time, possibly not now, maybe going forward, I have to do this. become a
Mm,
trainer, maybe become an image consultant, because she was also an image consultant. And those 2-day program changed the way I perceived life in general, because that's when I learned a lot of things. That okay, the way you portray yourself matters a lot. The way you
mm,
project yourself matters a lot, and it just is not about the way you dress up. It is also, it has a lot to do with your value system. It
mm.
has a lot to do with whom you are spending time with. It has a
Yes.
lot to do with how you behave with people, how you communicate with them, everything. So it is just a holistic approach. So I won't say that it is just about the dressing part of it, right? So yeah,
Mm.
that was one of the major points where I told to myself that, Umama, going forward, you have to do this. And
Mm.
I think good 6 years I served as a developer, and that's when I realized that okay, fine, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it's good. I mean, that was a great company, one of the dream companies, I would say.
Mm.
Pay was amazing, everything was going on good, but then you always have this one void here, yeah, and that
Yes.
void has to be fulfilled. And that's when
Mm.
I asked myself multiple questions. Oh, Mama, is it something that you want to continue forever? Always the inner voice would say, no, no, I can't. I just
Yeah.
cannot do it every time. That's when
Yeah.
I made a choice. Okay, now you have to decide whether you have to continue doing what you are doing or take a pause, think what you have to do, and then just turn tables.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
understand. We spoke about void a little. You mentioned about the void. Tell
right.
us what were you missing when you were with corporates that inspired you to become a coach and a trainer? What is it that is missing there, and you thought you will get on the other side of the whole journey?
Yeah. I think in one word I have to say, Aarti, it is probably the impact that you
Impact.
create.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you are um, technically a developer, or for that matter, anything which is in
Mm,
corporates, the
mm,
impact that you are creating would be there, but
mm,
then it won't be seen. And at the same time, you don't see the impact happening on people. Okay,
mm.
it would generate revenue, it would make create products, it would create services, but then it won't create an impact on people.
Let's get a little deeper. How did you
Yeah.
feel when you were not having impact on others? It was just a monotonous work of being a developer and a coder. So, what was happening with you, and what were you missing as a person?
I think I am more of a people person, Hannah. I want to interact with people. I just want to talk to them the way we are talking right now. Try to understand what's going on in their head. What are their challenges? What is
Mm,
it that I can do to bring them from that side to this side, And
mm,
that was something which I was feeling that, okay, I, I cannot do it in this job that I am doing. And
mm.
it was, as I mentioned, that it was that void that always was saying that, oh, Mama, if you continue doing this, it is not going to get filled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I'm sure.
you know, in corporates, you are doing that 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
Okay. You
Yeah.
just get up in the morning. Okay, ठीक है, ये काम करना है, चलो चलो चलो, check box, check box, check box. You are tick marking everything, and you are just
Mm,
going ahead with life. And then you just wait for the weekends, and then Monday you will have Monday blues, whatnot, right? But then
mm,
now when you are on the other side, every day, even I work on Saturdays and Sundays, I don't feel like I'm working, because
absolutely.
it's not work for me now. Yeah,
Mm,
it is not work anymore. It is my life. This is what I wanted. And
got
when
it.
I see that transformation in people happening, and when they come back and say that, okay, because of this happened to Mama, I'm like, oh, wow, I
Mm.
just achieved what I wanted.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it needs a lot of courage for us to kind of leave that conventional route, because we've picked that up because of certain expectation of having
Absolutely.
regular inflow of salary, having that security, having that conventional job per se, like what is expected. And
Hmm.
you've taken, that step. In fact, that's my story as well. I've also taken that step
Yeah.
6 years back. So Going a little deeper, how did that impact you at a mental wellness level? Like, you are a people's person, you want to make an impact, you want to do something, but there's a void. How did that impact you as a person, in your day-to-day wellness and well-being?
Um, a lot, honestly, Aarti, because as I said, when you are doing something just for the sake of doing, that is one thing. And when you are
Mm,
doing something because you love doing that, right? That is
mm,
another level altogether. And if you continue doing this, which is just for the sake of doing, because you are getting a handsome salary, because you
mm,
are working in a decent company, and you can tell it to people that, oh, you know what, I work in this company, and
yeah.
wow, that's a wonderful company, right? So
Mm,
yes, that is one part. But then at a mental level, I think I was feeling lonely. Honestly speaking, I was feeling lonely.
mm,
Not because I was not having people. There were plenty of them, handful of them. But
mm,
it was just not resonating to what I wanted to do in my life. And that's when that void became deeper and deeper and deeper. And I
mm,
realized that it will even become deeper if I do not start
mm.
working on that. And to
Absolutely.
work on any person, per se, as you are a coach, you would know this, we have to work on ourselves first.
Mm,
Yeah?
mm, mm,
So that's how it all started. And I think uh, being a developer, yes, is a great field to be in, but then
mm.
talking to computers is something which was not me.
Not you.
As I
Yes.
said, I I am a people person, although an introvert, but I am a people person. I love to interact. I love to know their story. I love
Mm,
to understand their challenges, and that's how the entire shift happened. And I'm very
wow.
happy that I took that step. You know,
Absolutely. And
I
I'm so
did that.
happy for you as well that, one decision that we took a couple of years back, I took 6 years back, you also took a couple of years
Yeah,
back. And I took after 17 years of my corporate stint,
right.
but it was very hard. It is very difficult. And that's why I'm saying you are a courageous woman because you did take that stand and left that conventional career per se and moved into something of your own, which helps people, which creates an impact, which gives you that kind of satisfaction. So great, great. I mean, that needs a lot of courage and hats off to you, Mama, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aarti. Means a lot.
Yeah. Going back a little bit to what you mentioned, you said it was a lonely journey and you started feeling, quite aloof. So tell us more about it. How did you overcome? Did you take professional help? Or how, as you mentioned, you have to work on yourself first so
Hmm,
that you can make an impact. So how did you overcome all of that, problems that you were facing?
right. Yeah, of course, as I mentioned, that was a very lonely moment because I was not resonating to what I was doing. And
Mm.
one of the major things that I would love to highlight here is the support of my family, right?
Wow.
Which
Mm.
really helped me because I remember when I was transitioning into this decision of shifting my career to training or rather image consulting. I I was staying with my elder brother. So my sister-in-law was there, my brother was there, my younger brother was there. And one fine day I just got up and said, you know what? I've decided I'll leave my job.
Wow.
And everybody who was looking at me, what? I said, yeah, you heard it right. Are you sure? I said, yes, I am sure about it. They
Mm.
were like, okay, think about it twice, so Mama. We'll talk about it after a week. Take a week's time and then we will discuss. I said, okay, fine. It is not going to change any which way, but still, just for your security and safety, I'll take that 1 week. And I took that 1 week time to contemplate further because I knew that what I am jumping into,
Mm.
I think you can feel what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
It's a complete unknown. So
Yeah.
going from known to unknown is always
Unknown.
scary. It is
Mm.
always scary. But then you
Mm.
have your gut instinct which says, नहीं, उमामा कूद जाओ देख लेंगे क्या होगा आगे
कर लेंगे.
कर लेंगे है ना. So
Mm.
I think that's what I did possibly in those 1 week also when I was contemplating all that I could hear my gut instinct, I would say it always used to tell me, nahi mama, if you are not doing it now, you'll never be able to do it again. So you have
Mm.
to take a call whether you are going to do it now or you are just a lot of speakers always say that when you are lying in your deathbed and you go back
Yeah.
to your life and you
Yeah.
say, "अरे यार, ये कर लेना चाहिए था." So I never
Mm.
wanted that one ick which would come from my heart saying that, "अरे यार, Umama, you could have chosen a different profession because it was not resonating to you." And
Yeah.
that's when I think this was one moment where I realized, नहीं, ये मुझे नहीं चाहिए. When I was lying
Mm.
in my deathbed, I should not regret that I have not taken that decision. So I
Mm.
did that, and believe me when I say this, Aarti, my family was a very big support for me. They were there in everything that I said. And when I said, okay, I'll leave my job, they'll be like, ठीक है, okay, I think whatever you are saying, you have a plan with that. So my elder brother actually said me in that 1 week, bring up, come up with a plan, Umama, what you will do. And I had
Mm.
the entire plan ready in front of him, and he was convinced. He said, okay, fine, I'm with you.
Very good. Awesome.
And my
Awesome.
parents as well. I mean, it was again, as you mentioned, right? The conventional ways to get a job, get a good guy, get married, settle, have family,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. But
Yeah.
I think I took one of the major unconventional decisions, and that's when I
Yeah.
told my father as well that, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm leaving my job. He said, okay, if you believe in yourself, then I'm with you. I
Yeah.
said,
I think we are a few, rebels of our family who are like, मुझे वही करना है जो मुझे करना है, मुझे वो करने दो. Like that.
true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So tell us more about your self-work as you left your job. What all self-work you did, and how did you
Hmm.
tackle that loneliness that you were feeling, and how
Right.
how did you overcome your own wellness, the self-work that you did?
Right. I think one that I immediately started was learning, Aarti. I read a lot. So I
Wow.
invested a lot in learning. So either I took up
Mm,
courses, I read a lot of books. But one thing
mm.
that I consistently did was to journal. So I still
Wow.
remember I had two books, okay? One
Mm,
was to jot down my thoughts randomly, and the other one was the stories that I would encounter in my life, you know. So I wrote all the stories that I would come across. May
wow.
it be with my family, may it be with somebody I just stumbled upon while walking and having a conversation, because everybody has a story. And
Absolutely.
when you have that kind of repository, you
Mm,
feel so good about it. Why? Because of course you always try to correlate, saying that, "Acha, I am still at a better place if you compare to what others are going through." That gives you an edge always. है ना? ऐसा we
mm,
always say, if you go to a hospital and you see a lot of patients,
absolutely.
that's when
Yeah.
you realize, oh my God, I'm at a such much better place, and you
Yes.
feel grateful about it. That
Yeah.
was one big motivation for me, having that storybook for myself, wherein I
Wow.
always got back to those stories just to remind myself that, oh mama, you are at a much better place. So that was
Yeah.
one. And the second one is, of course, as I said, was just journaling. Because again, it
Mm,
was a rough journey. You were not sure what you are doing. As I said,
mm.
from known to unknown, I was just diving into something which was completely unknown. So jotting down everything, every moment in my life really helped me. And getting the right mentors in my life, Aarti, this is
Wow.
one big thing which I learned quite late in my life.
Mm,
That's when I realized that a mentor can be a game changer in your life. Yeah.
absolutely.
And as you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, that we have not been taught about all these in our schools. I don't know what are we teaching in schools these days.
Mm, mm,
Possibly, if I would have been told that, you know what, you should get mentors in your life depending on what you are trying to achieve, I would
mm,
have done far better and achieved my goals easier and faster.
mm.
So this I realized when I was doing this entire transitioning. I I I got different mentors. Maybe one helped me in training, one helped me in public speaking, one helped me in setting up the business. All of
Mm.
that. And I'm sure you would be able to resonate to this a
Yes.
lot, Aarti, how much and how useful it is to have mentors in our life. Because again, this journey is also lonely. It's
Yes,
not
absolutely.
easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So wonderful nuggets shared by you, Mama. I would like to repeat it for the audience who's listening
Sure.
to us. There are three nuggets that she had shared for all of us. Number one, journaling really helps. You know, you
True.
must write your thoughts. You must put it on paper so that it helps you declutter. It helps you release all that's going on in your head. The second thing you also mentioned was, writing the stories of people
Yeah.
around you, or maybe just noting it down
Right.
and feeling grateful for what you have and not look at what you don't have,
True.
right? So that really
Absolutely.
helped you. And that's what even I teach when we do our boot camps and other courses and other things, that be grateful, write journal, and go to a hospital one day if you
That's
want, and just
lovely.
see what the kind of suffering that
True.
people have, and you have not even an iota of it, and still
Yeah.
you are thinking that there's something wrong. And the last thing is having the right mentors, which I totally agree with you,
Yeah.
Umama, because all through in those 12 years of study from first standard to 12th standard, we have somebody called as teachers. We forget
Yeah.
that we have mentors right from the start, but as soon as we move out, as soon as we go into the corporate world, even in college we have professors and mentorships and all, but as soon as we step out in the working, as a working professional in the corporates, or as a professional, or whatever entrepreneurship journey that you have, we don't have anybody to guide us. There's no mentor, there's nobody to
True.
guide us what's wrong, what's right, how should
Yeah.
we go about it. In school we only have school uniforms, we don't know what color matches with what,
I
right?
know.
And I'm sure that's the that's as small as what colors are matching, to as big as what big decision that
That
you
you
should
have
be
to take.
taking. Decision
Absolutely.
making in your life, communication, relationships. There's so many topics that's not taught. And I'm so glad that now the awareness is happening,
Yeah.
and people like you, people like the other coaches, and people are coming up with such kind of programs and helping people overcome these dilemmas and all of that. So now let's talk about how you're helping people, and how can they connect with you, and what is it that you can help them what area is it that you can help them transform. Of course, all of us coaches are helping people get transformation.
Right.
So tell us more about the transformation that you help them get.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aarti, for asking that. Yeah, so as you mentioned that I am into image consulting. Now, image consulting might sound as a term which is like, acha, ye bhi kuch hota hai? Because I get that a lot. Yeah. But just to simplify it, it starts from what's inside you. As we always say, it is working on your inner self and then working on your outer image. So it is a holistic approach, not something which is just related to how you dress up. Okay, so
Hmm.
you cannot just have a gift wrapped into in a wonderful paper with ribbons, but what's inside that gift is also important, because
Yes.
that's what is the a value, I would say, that you associate that gift with. And that is about the human being as well. So if your inner self is strong, that is what is projected outwards. No matter
That's
how expensive you are wearing, Armani or anything per se, but you are not confident enough, it
yeah.
just doesn't go out there. It just doesn't match. It just doesn't feel that, it doesn't feel that you are wearing an outer skin. It just feels alien to you. And that's what we
Hmm.
work on. We start from working on your mindset. Then we
Hmm.
move towards the way you appear, which is typically the styling, the grooming, the clothing part. Then we
Yeah.
also move to the behavior part of it, which means how you are actually meeting people, what kind of etiquette or what kind of behavior you are showcasing, because that matters a lot.
Hmm.
Because you would have heard this, right? People don't remember what you said, but people do remember how you made them
How
feel.
you said,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So the how part is important
Hmm.
because that portrays your behavior, that portrays your etiquette towards people. And then comes the next element, which is how you communicate. Again, how confident of a communicator you are. So we work on these four different segments, as I said, repeating it again
Awesome.
for the benefit of audience: your
Sure.
mindset, your appearance, your behavior, and your communication. So these
Communication.
are the
Great.
elements that we work on.
Wonderful. Great. And
Yeah.
who is the ideal person who can connect with you? Is it somebody who's working in corporates at a managerial level or maybe at a senior management level? Or, is it somebody who's an entrepreneur? Who is this beneficial for?
I think it is beneficial for, honestly, I would say it is meant for
Everybody.
everyone, yes. But then yeah, because it is
Yeah.
required. We don't see it seen, but then it is needed.
Yeah.
However, just to funnel it down or to niche it, maybe entrepreneurs, business owners, working professionals who are transitioning from one role to the other, or someone who is just trying to get into the industry per se, right? So all those can be benefited, and I have seen a lot of homemakers also who are transitioning to a role, because
Wow.
you get a lot of these homemakers now who feel that okay, they are tired of this rut that they are going through, getting up,
Mm,
preparing meals for the family, and just living for the family, not for themselves. They are
mm.
starting something new, right? And that's
Wow.
when the transition is happening, and that's when they reach out to me saying, "Mama, how can you help me?"
Amazing. That's wow.
Right.
So this is the kind of impact that we all make, right? Amazing,
Absolutely.
amazing. So now since you're making a lot of impact, and there was this girl a couple of years back who was
Hmm.
in her own shell, an introvert, coder, developer, and what do you want to tell this version of yourself, the younger self of yourself, who's not even knowing this? Anything that you want to tell her?
I think the only thing that I would tell her is just chill, take it easy. Do not take so much of pressure. I mean, you're just a kid. Don't
Hmm.
forget that. Yeah? Live life, because I remember I have never enjoyed my childhood,
Yeah.
and I regret that big time, big time.
Hmm.
So I would always tell that younger self to me, enjoy, because this
Yeah.
childhood is not going to come
Yeah.
back.
The self who was working in corporates and also the self who was a child and who was a achiever,
Absolutely.
overachiever. I mean, your message is uh, enjoy life and do not take so much of pressure.
Ah, yeah.
One last message for our audience, Mama. What would you like to tell everybody who's watching us today?
Thank you. So for all of them who are watching, I think it's important to first love yourself, right? And that's where the journey begins. You have
Mm,
to love yourself and then think as to what next can be added to make this version the next level. I won't say a better, because you are already at your best, but then
yes.
one thing that can be added so that you create that impact. And it can
Mm,
be anything. Just try striving for what's next. And of course,
mm,
be happy in all the stages. I'm not saying that hunger should not be there. It should be there, but then it should satisfy or satiate you where you are.
yeah. Yeah.
Those things matter a lot, and invest in yourself, because you will be investing in others, you will be investing in the family and everything, but then invest in yourself, because that's the best gift that you can give to yourself.
Amazing, amazing. So very profound messages that you've given, Umama. I like to repeat one, be satiated in whatever you are, at whatever version you are right now, whatever you
Absolutely.
do, be it you're a homemaker or you're a working professional, be happy in whatever version you are and always strive to become
Absolutely.
the next version. As you mentioned, not the
Correct.
better one, but the next version.
Yeah.
And second is also investing in yourself and taking care of yourself, which also relates to having a mentor and working on yourself through a coach, with a mentor who can
Absolutely.
guide you and who can help you to take on the next version in your life. Thank you so very
Absolutely.
much, Mama. It was a pleasure talking to you. I didn't realize how the time passed away, and it was a beautiful talk that we had. Thank you so very much for taking this invite, and over to
Pleasure,
you.
Aarti.
Anything you want to
Pleasure,
say?
pleasure. Yeah, I mean, even I did not realize that we have spoken so much, but
Yeah,
I mean,
actually.
it's so good that you are doing this, and I'm sure this is going to help a lot of them. So thank you so much once again, Aarti, and you are incredible.
Thank you so much. So are you. You are awesome. And keep doing this awesome work. And maybe we'll see you next time sometime. Yeah.
Absolutely,
Take care.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.